morning, Ethel. My, don't you look lovely today.
Horse shit.
Welcome to Hamburgers and Horror, the home of meat, monsters, and many bad words spewing from Ethel's potty mouth. I'm Noah Hook, and today we're looking at Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. Set 5 years after the events in the final chapter, a still traumatized Tommy Jarvis returns to Crystal Lake as the resident of a halfway house. But when bodies begin piling up, Tommy begins to believe Jason has risen from the dead. But if he wants to determine this new killer's identity, first he's gonna have to survive. Despite the last film literally being called the final chapter, Frank Mancuso Jr. and the other producers could not say no to such an easy payday. A New Beginning was directed by Danny Steinman, who has brought us films like High Rise, The Unseen, and Savage Streets. Steinman got his start filming pornos, and it shows here. A New Beginning is sketchy as fuck, with a ton of hardcore nudity and sex, which was mostly cut from the film, and a lot of hard drug use on set. The fact this was even a Friday film was kept from auditioning cast members until they were hired, with the film being advertised with a fake name. The film stars John Shepard from Deep Cover and Down Periscope as Tommy Jarvis, although Corey Feldman makes a cameo as Kid Tommy. Melanie Kinnaman from Best of the Best as Pam, Shavar Ross from Different Strokes and Family Matters as Reggie the Reckless, Richard Young from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade as Dr. Letter, Dick Wyand from The In-Laws and Paternity as Roy Burns, and Miguel Nunez Jr. from Return of the Living Dead as Demon. Maybe Jason was primarily performed by stuntman Tom Morga, an absolute legend who has also played Leatherface and Michael Myers. The cinematography was handled by Stephen Posey of Slumber Party Massacre and Savage Streets, and thank goodness Harry Manfredini returned to handle the score. He's a real trooper, what can I say? A New Beginning ended up grossing $22 million at the box office, the lowest return so far in the franchise, but still a monetary success. And as usual, it was not loved by critics, many of whom felt it was unusually raunchy and especially repetitive. It currently has an 18 and 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, along with a 2.4 on Letterboxd, so it probably isn't the best Friday film ever made. I can actually get down with Part 5, it's one of the least coherent Friday films, but with all of the wacky characters, it's one of the funniest. I know there's one big reason a lot of people don't like it, but it's probably time we take a look for ourselves. You motherfuckers better hit that subscribe button or get off my property, because we're watching Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. The movie opens on a rainy night in the woods as Lil Tommy Jarvis makes his way to the grave of Jason Voorhees. As he looks over the tomb, he notices some fellas heading his way, and he hides as the two dummies start digging up the grave. The Hootin', Holler, and Himbos successfully unearth Mr. Voorhees, whose wormy corpse immediately reanimates to kill them with his trusty machete and a screwdriver he was, for some reason, buried with. The big guy hoists himself up and immediately locks eyes with Tommy, and the terrified boy freezes with fear as he approaches. "I'll have a slice of Feldman, please." This scene is only a dream though, as a now teenage Tommy wakes from his nightmare. He has been psychologically tormented since his fateful encounter with Jason, which has had him shuffled through various psychiatric hospitals. He's old enough now that he's no longer a ward of the state, so he's being transferred to the Pinehurst halfway house, which of course is located in Crystal Lake. Pinehurst is run by Dr. Matthew Letter and his assistant Pam Roberts, and they explain to Tommy that they offer much more freedom than the state programs. There are no guards and few rules, and his time here is to help him prepare to re-enter the world with a clean slate. They send Tommy to look over his room while they look over his file, and Letter is concerned about the extent of his trauma and the extreme methods of rehabilitation he's gone through. Tommy looks at a photo of his mom and sister, not sure where she went, as well as a knife he stashes under his bed, before finding a rubber spider and a boy named Reggie in his closet.
Man, you are one scared cat.
Yeah, they really did something with Reggie's dialogue in this film. Tommy turns the table with his masks, which is a detail I'm glad they kept. The two bond for a moment, during which we learn Reggie isn't a patient here, but he's visiting his grandfather who works at Pinehurst. The sheriff rolls up with two of their kids, Eddie and Tina, who were caught banging on a neighbor's property. The sheriff doesn't really give a shit, but the neighbor Ethel Hubbard sure as fuck does.
The next little bastard comes near my farm, I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out, you hear me?
She wants Pinehurst closed down and warns the kids what will happen if they come back on her property.
Don't you come near me, Sheriff, I warn you. I got a bomb on me.
I swear every line that comes out of this woman's mouth is 100% gold.
Would you shut the fuck up?
Now it's time to meet some halfway house kids. We've got angry wood-chopping fella Vic, chocolate bar-loving fella Joey, goth girl Violet, and serious girl Robin. Joey offers to help the girls hanging up laundry, but all he manages to do is cover a blanket in chocolate. Next he wanders over to Vic, who wants absolutely nothing to do with him or his chocolate bars. Joey tells him off before walking away, but Vic slams the axe into his back and fucking kills him off screen. Okay. Police arrest Vic and paramedics arrive to collect Joey's body, and Letter tells the sheriff Joey had no family.
The kid got shuffled around from home to home till he came here. I don't know what the hell happened to the father. Took off somewhere, I guess.
A paramedic named Duke makes fun of the kid's distress when looking at Joey's corpse, but another medic named Roy seems really affected by the sight, and I mean like suspiciously affected. That night, two greasers and maybe lovers named Vinny and Pete have a breakdown near Pinehurst, with the latter wandering in the woods to take a crap.
Crap my ass!
While Pete's out getting scaled by some wabbits, a stranger appears and jams a lit flare into Vinny's mouth. Pete somehow walks right by his friend's corpse and tries to start the car.
This ain't starting, man. Fucked up again, it ain't starting. I'm gonna kick your ass, kick your ass.
But just as he gets the car going, the killer pops out of the back seat and slices his throat with a machete. The next day, Tommy's thinking about the time he murdered a man, and despite taking his medication, he starts to hallucinate. Reggie's brother will be in town tomorrow, and despite his grandfather's concern, he agrees to let him visit. These two have a very sweet relationship.
Do me a favor. Don't kiss me when there's people around, okay?
Okay, it's cool.
Another patient with a stutter named Jake notices that Violet accidentally set the table for Joey and Vic, and it's clear their absence is taking a toll on the group. Eddie tries to scare Tommy with his own mask, which immediately gets him flipped into a table and quite a few punches before Letter pulls him away. Yeah, I'd say Tommy is the new most fucked up kid here. Ethel and her stupid son Junior are eating breakfast.
You big dildo. Eat your fucking slop.
When this random guy shows up at their door.
Who the fuck are you? What the fuck do you want?
He's hoping to earn a meal and agrees to clean out their chicken coop, I guess. The dead greasers have been found and the sheriff is starting to get worried.
You talking to me, Sheriff?
Night falls as this dude named Billy rolls up to a diner hoping to place a to-go order.
I would like Lana to go with nothing on.
Lana likes the sound of that, but has to finish up inside first, which mostly involves flashing the camera.
It's showtime!
Billy's nose candy celebration is cut short though, as when he's telling Lana to hustle up, he receives an axe to the noggin. By the time she makes it outside, Billy's body is gone, but she quickly realizes she's not alone. Her escape attempt is futile though, and Lana takes an axe to the torso. The next day, Tommy has more hallucinations, and all of the recent violence has the mayor freaking out.
This is a small town, man. And small towns are supposed to be safe.
The sheriff is convinced that Jason Voorhees must have returned, but the mayor tells him to get his shit together and come up with a suspect that's actually alive. Now Eddie and Tina are running out into the woods to fuck, unaware that they are being watched by the chicken coop guy. Oh shit, chicken coop guy is dead, I guess. What a meaningful character. The two finish fucking and Eddie runs off to wash up, so now Danny Steinman can finally focus the camera on his favorite things from as many angles as possible. Oh hey Cropsy, you're in the wrong movie, bud. Eddie, am I to understand that you washed your dick in that nasty ass pond? He finds Tina missing some eyeballs, and he quickly suffers a similar fate via a belt clamping his head to a tree. Pam is taking Reggie to visit his brother, and Letter decides it'd be good for Tommy to get away from Pinehurst for a little while. At the local trailer park, we meet Reggie's brother Demon and his girlfriend Anita.
Do you want a taco? Egg roll? What about a slice of pizza?
Thanks.
Cheese and sausage?
Demon and Reggie also have a very sweet relationship. Junior rolls up and starts threatening Tommy on behalf of his mother, which gets the country boy a proper ass whooping. A very public assault means the Pinehurst crew has to get going, but that may be good timing since Demon's having some tummy troubles.
Them damn enchiladas!
Demon is shitting his brains out as he and Anita break out into song.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh, baby.
But when she stops singing, he pokes his head out to find her dead. The killer starts ramming some kind of pointy pole into the outhouse, stabbing Demon in the leg and eventually the chest. Ooh, baby. Jake, Violet, and Robin inform Pam that Dr. Letter and Grandpa George are nowhere to be found, and somehow Tommy is missing too? I guess he didn't come back with Pam and Reggie? Whatever keeps him as the red herring, I guess. Pam heads out to find everyone, leaving Jake in charge until she gets back. Junior returns home in a screaming rage due to his ass kicking, and the big dumb boy rides right into a decapitation. Ethel is happy to have some peace and quiet, that is until the killer bursts through the window to chop her in the face. Of course Pam's truck breaks down in the middle of the woods and she starts hiking back. Jake tries to put the moves on Robin, but sadly it doesn't go too well. He tries and fails to get some advice from Violet, but does get a cleaver to the face from the killer. Robin tucks sleepy Reggie in on the couch and heads upstairs, and what do you know, she gets naked. She crawls into bed to find Jake's corpse, where she is also grabbed and stabbed from beneath the bunk. The killer sneaks into Violet's room while she is, well, I guess you could call it dancing, and he lifts her up before stabbing her in the gut. Reggie wakes to find the house suspiciously quiet, and he quickly finds a pile of teenage corpses. Pam returns and confirms the gruesome sight in Tommy's room, but before the two can escape, Jason fucking Voorhees comes bursting through the door. They escape through the back and into the woods where they find an ambulance and that paramedic Duke dead inside. Jason finds them, prompting an incredible scream from Reggie. The two flee and get separated in the woods, with Pam finding Letter's body on the way back to Pinehurst. Damn, then Grandpa George gets yeeted through the window. That sweet old man deserved better. Pam continues her final girl circuit with Jason right on her tail, where she clumsily crawls through the mud for way too long. But before Jason can finish her, Reggie bursts through a barn on a never before seen tractor, and he slams into Jason to send him flying. That isn't enough to finish him though, and the two flee inside the barn. Jason follows them inside, but Pam manages to start up a chainsaw to take on the big man. She gets him once in the shoulder before the stupid thing runs out of gas, but she's able to knock him over with it. Oh, hey Tommy, welcome back, good to see ya, I guess. He and Jason lock eyes, and despite his ass-kicking abilities, the poor lad is too paralyzed by fear to fight or flee. He gets slashed in the chest and falls to the ground, but he does manage to stab Jason in the leg with his handy-dandy knife. He climbs up to join the others, but Jason isn't far behind. Apparently Tommy is now unconscious enough for Jason's liking, so he goes back to hunting Pam and Reggie. He spots Reckless hiding in some hay bales, but Pam emerges to take him on again. Jason gets the upper hand, but Reggie jumps from the bales to knock him out of the barn window. Ah, the big bastard managed to hang on though. He tries to pull Reggie down with him, but Tommy wakes just in time to hack Jason's hand. He plummets down into some pointy farm equipment, and it's here the killer is finally unmasked. It isn't Jason Voorhees, it's Roy! You know, that paramedic we've probably had a whole minute of screen time with. Hooray! The three make it to the hospital where the sheriff can provide some exposition. Turns out Joey is Roy's son, I guess. For some fucking reason, Roy let his boy be bounced around in foster care and halfway houses instead of raising him, but the sight of his neglected child all hacked up was enough to make him snap? Okay. He also kept track of the Voorhees murders, so I guess he used it as inspiration. What a satisfying twist. Pam checks in on Tommy, who whips out a machete and stabs her. Wouldn't be a Friday film without a fake-out nightmare ending now, would it? Tommy has another hallucination as he imagines the real Jason Voorhees standing before him. Apparently someone thought it would be a good idea to leave Roy's mask in Tommy's room, so when Pam really visits him, he's ready to maybe kill her for real. Probably not though, it's definitely just another fake-out. And that's a new beginning. This really is the definition of a mixed bag. On one hand, this is the most fun I've had rewatching the franchise so far. Every character is just so funny and unhinged and very entertaining. On the other hand, it's also the least scary, the least suspenseful, and the least impactful. But between the weird-ass halfway house kids, crazy-ass Ethel and Junior, the super aggro greasers, coked out Billy and Lana, and high-ass Demon and Anita, there are so many hilarious lines, most of which were clearly improvised on set. But with all of those side characters, there's a ton of time being sucked away from what could have been really in-depth looks at the actual protagonists of the film. It's especially noticeable since a lot of these characters are killed just minutes after being introduced, so the first 2/3 of the film is really just bouncing around random set pieces that don't really progress the story in any way. I actually think the idea to have someone take on the persona of Jason was a really cool idea, but this particular iteration falls a bit flat. There are just so many questions you have to overlook to understand how and why Roy is doing what he's doing. Most importantly, why does this man have a picture of himself in his own wallet? But really, why did he abandon Joey but also continue to live in Crystal Lake and seemingly keep tabs on him? He also never gets a Pamela Voorhees kind of moment where he gets to explain his side of the story, and hearing it from the sheriff after he's already dead just makes it a lot less impactful. But up until his reveal, I think Roy does a solid job in Jason's shoes, managing to rack up some memorable kills along the way. I do really wish the film did more with Tommy though. He's honestly the least interesting character in the whole film, and by the end he's had like zero character development. It's the same fucking cliffhanger ending as the final chapter. Maybe during a first time watch some people believed he could really be the killer, but he just doesn't seem like a convincing red herring to me at all. But the attempt to make him one caused him to be absent from a huge chunk of the film, only for him to show up really lacklusterly at the end. Although his fight scenes are very entertaining, no one can take that away. And Reggie is a great addition to the film, even if the writers got a bit carried away with his dialogue. Along with being the sleaziest Friday film, it's also the most musical. With all of the improvisation on set, a ton of actors resorted to singing, dancing, and other weird little activities to get through their scenes. And for me, it's those weird specificities that help keep a new beginning afloat, as without that influx of humor, this film would just be very uninteresting. All in all, the fifth entry in the Friday franchise is a divisive one, and for good reason. It's the furthest deviation from the established formula at this point in the series, trading in the horror for more laughs, absurdity, and boobs. I'd put it up there as one of the funnest Friday films, but it lacks the suspense of its predecessors. I commend the film for trying to keep Jason dead, but it became clear pretty immediately that he wouldn't stay that way for long. Well, that's about it. Soon we'll be wrapping up Tommy's adventures with Jason Lives, but first we have to check out a patron request. Join me in 2 weeks as we check out the Midnight Meat Train. That should be a fun one. As always, I'm Noah Hook, and thanks for watching Hamburgers and Horror. Stay safe out there. Thanks for watching my review of Friday Part 5. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe so you can keep up with all my horror reviews. And if you want to help support the channel further, you should check out my Patreon account. You'll be able to vote for future movies and franchises I cover on the channel. Thanks, y'all.